Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty interesting. It's not just a vehicle analysis. No, it's really about a whole ecosystem strategy. We've been looking at this professional analysis based on a virtual immersion experience, right? Inside one of those autonomous Zoox vehicles.
Yeah.
Amazon's self-driving shuttle.
Exactly. And this wasn't just any drive.
No, definitely not. Our sources describe this really carefully planned trip right along what you could call Silicon Valley's innovation corridors, like the economic nerve center.
He really is.
And the whole point wasn't like a scenic tour.
Yeah.
It was designed as a series of, well, stress tests.
Operational stress tests.
Yeah, to evaluate 4 key things. 1, the user experience, like what does it actually feel like? 2, operational confidence, can you trust this thing?
Yeah.
3, how the tech fits into the, the bigger business picture around it. And 4, which I thought was interesting, its value as a teaching tool for future engineers, designers.
That pedagogical aspect is crucial. But the main takeaway right up front is that this analysis, it wasn't just about does the tech work?
Right.
It was really about seeing if autonomous mobility could actually connect the business pillars of an entire supply chain, physically and digitally.
So thinking about Amazon's massive operations.
Precisely. This Zoox, you have to see it as a strategic service, something designed to link, say, R&D with the talent pipeline, and then connect that to corporate logistics synergy.
Okay, that frames it differently.
Right.
So less like a future taxi, more like a future logistics asset.
You got it.
All right, let's get into the specifics then. This strategic route. It sounds like they really put the vehicle through its paces, starting appropriately right at Zoox HQ in Foster City.
Yes, Foster City. And that's key because it's a planned city. It's sort of the perfect lab environment.
Like a control group for the tech.
Exactly. Starting there, it kind of symbolizes the huge R&D investment needed. The analysis mentioned the departure was deliberately smooth, letting the observer ease into trusting the tech.
So establishing that baseline performance in ideal conditions.
Perfect conditions.
Okay, baseline established. But how quickly did they, well, throw it into the deep end? Because the next stop involved Highway 84, heading to Meta, formerly Facebook, in Menlo Park. That's high-speed, complex merging.
Oh, yeah, straight into it. High speed, heavy traffic, lane changes.
So how did it handle that pressure?
The assessment called it algorithmic precision. It was highly defensive driving, definitely prioritized safety, but consistently performed well.
Defensive is good. Yeah.
Very. What was impressive was how it seemed to anticipate, unpredictable moves from human drivers at speed, manage the merges, the lane changes meticulously, almost like overly cautious but confident.
Okay. Now this stop at Meta, this feels really strategic. You've got this physical transport arriving at the home of the metaverse. How do those two worlds converge? It seems like Meta is consumer, Zoox is enterprise.
Well, that's exactly the question they were exploring, this convergence idea. It's about blending physical presence with virtual experience. The analysis even posed the question, could you be in a Zoox, physically moving, but attending a meeting in VR?
Whoa. Okay, that changes the commute entirely.
Right. The vehicle becomes more than just transport. It's a mobile office, a meeting room. It's a great example of platform ecosystems where the car is just another node, another screen in the network.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Next stop, Stanford University in Palo Alto. Now, I think this must have been the toughest test.
Oh, without a doubt.
Anyone who's driven near a big university knows. It's just chaos. Pedestrians popping out, bikes everywhere, roundabouts, 4-way stops. It's the polar opposite of planned Foster City.
Absolutely. And this was the real acid test for operational confidence in unpredictable settings.
Did it cope?
Remarkably well. The analysis specifically highlighted its patience and prevision. It noted the Zoox was, and I quote, exquisitely yielding the right of way.
Exquisitely yielding.
Yeah. I mean, in those low-speed, high-density situations, dealing with unpredictable people requires that kind of predictable patience. That's what builds passenger confidence, seeing it handle that calmly.
Makes sense. And strategically, Stanford represents the talent pipeline, right? Including the campus, makes a statement.
A huge statement. Stanford is, open innovation, the future workforce. It underlines how critical those university industry links are. The tech might be autonomous, but the brains designing and improving it, that requires a constant flow of specialized talent.
So testing it right where those future engineers are learning.
Wow.
Powerful message.
Exactly. It drives home the human capital side of this whole equation.
Okay, so we've seen R&D, convergence, talent. Now the journey connects back to the big picture, Amazon's operational vision. The third stop, Amazon Lab 126 in Sunnyvale.
And this is where it gets very practical. Lab 126 is in an industrial sort of commercial zone.
Right, lots of trucks, logistics activity.
Exactly. So the Zoox had to navigate that. Big trucks, complex loading areas, potentially. The report said it interacted successfully with heavy vehicles, maintained safe distances, anticipated wide turns, all essential stuff for real-world logistics.
And Lab 126, just to remind listeners, that's where Amazon designs things like the Kindle Echo devices.
Correct. Their hardware innovation hub.
So seeing the Zoox pull up there, it really paints this picture of a closed ecosystem, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just moving people between Amazon sites.
That's the deeper implication. Yes, transporting employees is step one. But the real vision is using Zoox as like the literal backbone of an automated supply chain.
How so?
Well, imagine a Zoox picking up packages from a distribution center, driving autonomously, and then potentially even transferring those packages directly into the trunk of another Zoox at the destination, automating that tricky last mile.
Wow, okay. That transforms it from a shuttle into a key piece of their whole inventory management system.
Precisely. A movable automated logistics node.
Okay, and the final leg, the return trip to Foster City at sunset. What was the purpose there?
That was about environmental resilience, testing low-light performance.
So checking the sensors.
Exactly. Confirming that the LiDAR and radar systems, which don't rely on visible light like human eyes, work just as effectively when it gets dark.
Got it. So this whole journey, it really feels like a metaphor for the agile development cycle.
It really does. You start with R&D in the lab, Foster City. Then you test it in the real world, the chaos of Stanford, the industrial setting of Sunnyvale. And then you return, presumably with tons of data, to iterate and improve.
Right.
And that loops back perfectly to the user experience finding. Confidence isn't just given, it's contextual.
What do you mean by contextual?
It means it's earned or lost in every single complex situation the vehicle handles. That tricky lane change on the highway, yielding patiently to that unexpected pedestrian near Stanford. Each successful maneuver builds trust. The analysis suggests it was a diversity of environments handled flawlessly that was truly convincing.
Okay, so it's a strategic tool demonstrated across multiple contexts. Based on this whole virtual deep dive, what are the main conclusions about, the viability of this Zoox approach?
I think three big things stand out from the analysis. First, the methodology itself. Using this strategic journey to break down a complex ecosystem into testable parts, R&D, convergence, talent, synergy, proved really effective. It's a solid model for analyzing corporate strategy, actually, not just cars.
That's a good point. It's transferable.
Second, the site selection was absolutely crucial. It wasn't random. Each stop tested a distinct operational challenge in an environment representing a key business pillar. It confirmed that geographic context is, well, everything.
You have to test it where it matters, basically.
Exactly. And third, the potential for logistics now seems pretty undeniable. That experience near Lab 126 in the industrial zone, that really solidified the view that this tech could be the backbone of a new automated supply chain, much bigger than just passenger transport.
So the tech feels ready, but the implementation is the challenge.
That's where the hurdles lie. The infrastructure, the business model, those are next.
Which leads us neatly to the challenges. Moving from this carefully curated corridor to mass deployment.
Eka.
That's a huge leap. What were the main hurdles identified?
The analysis pointed to four major ones. First, and maybe the biggest, is geographic scalability. Meaning they got great performance in planned areas like Foster City or even relatively ordered chaos like Palo Alto. But replicating that safety and consistency in truly chaotic cities, think downtown Mumbai or Rome or even just older parts of Boston with unpredictable infrastructure, that's a massive leap for the algorithms.
So it's less about the car itself, more about the wildly unpredictable world it has to navigate.
Precisely. The environment is the next level of complexity. The second challenge they flagged is physical integration.
Going beyond just arriving at the curb.
Way beyond. We talked about arriving at Lab 126. But how does the Zoox safely and efficiently interact with, say, automated loading docks, or robotic arms in a warehouse, or the internal flow of goods? It needs to become part of the industrial choreography, not just a visitor.
Okay. Deeper integration. And then the inevitable question, money.
Yeah. Third challenge, cost and profitability. Running a reliable, frequent service, even on these specific high-value routes, needs huge initial investment. Limited fleets, high maintenance, constant software updates.
The short-term return must be tough.
Very tough. You're spending billions to serve, initially, a relatively small corporate user base. When does that investment scale up and actually turn a profit? That's the big operational model question.
And the final challenge has to be the data, right?
Absolutely. Data analysis. Think about the sheer volume of data collected on just one trip. Every pedestrian movement, every near miss, every traffic pattern, it's astronomical.
Terabytes per hour, probably.
Easily. But the real hurdle isn't just collecting it, it's analyzing it and turning that raw data into immediate actionable improvements for the driving algorithms across the entire fleet.
So the speed of learning and deployment is key.
That's the competitive edge. Not who has the most data, but who can learn from it and deploy safety improvements almost instantly, within hours, not weeks or months.
That's a really clear breakdown. So for you listening, the takeaway here is that assessing autonomous vehicle strategy means looking beyond just the vehicle specs. You need to focus on the strategic points that connects the R&D labs, the universities, the factories, the distribution centers. That network tells you the real story about its potential impact and viability.
And building on that data challenge, think about it. Navigating that complex route generated incredible real-world insights into human behavior, things no simulator could predict. So the ultimate race here, it might not be about who builds the absolute best car. It might be about who builds the fastest, most effective learning loop. Who can turn those billions of daily data points into measurable, standardized safety improvements for their entire fleet, almost in real time. That cycle of learning, that's the new frontier in automated logistics.